In this video, I'm taking a look at the Ford Telstar, which definitely isn't a Mazda 626. It also has one of the most interesting features ever fitted to a car. I can't wait to show you. But first of all, let's have a walk around the outside. Yeah, there's no fooling anyone really, is there? This really is a Mazda 626 with a Ford badge. There's a few subtle tweaks, different headlamps, an indicator unit, a different grille, but otherwise it very much is a Mazda 626 or Capella, and again different rear light treatment as well, but it all ends up looking like one of those cars they make for insurance adverts where they're trying to hide the identity of whatever car it is they're filming. But shut up, noisy parrots. But look, Ford badge there, Telstar TX5 being the hatchback version. It really is badge engineering in full effect. So it's the GD generation of 626 or Capella, and it's the second generation Ford Telstar. They did one based on the previous generation of 626 as well, and the thinking being that they could assemble it in Australia and that would be all of the good times. You're not blocked because obviously it was quite restrictive on imports at the time. But in fact, this generation is Japanese built. So this was built in the factory alongside Mazda 626s. See, it's got a 2.2 litre 12 valve engine with fuel injection, and the Ghia badge looking slightly out of place on this blatantly a Mazda. And the reason they could get away with importing this car from Japan is that Ford Australia was earning credits by exporting the Capri, the Mazda-based Capri convertible, which I sadly haven't managed to get my hands on, to America. And that enabled them to bring these cars in from Japan. There was also a saloon, but that was only in this generation for a couple of years. And there was then a further generation of Telstar, which was very popular in New Zealand, where they were produced from knockdown kits. Let's take in that marvellous styling. It is very, very Japanese, and it does just look like they've nicked the lights off something else and just crammed them on. I'm not sure exactly what year this is, but it's pre-facelift, so it must be before 1992, I think. I think they facelifted it right towards the end, and then ultimately it was replaced by the Ford Mondeo, which ticked the boxes rather more sufficiently. One beautiful nugget is that having decided that this wasn't the way to go, because they needed a locally produced car here in Australia before the Mondeo became available, although that was never locally produced, so it's a really bad example, but they switched Japanese manufacturer and started badging the Nissan Pintara, which is basically a U12 Bluebird. They badge those as Ford Corsairs. So there's an interesting little nugget for you. But we should start by having a look under the bonnet. Imagine it has an engine. Have a brief glimpse of velour. Beautiful velour. Well, it is a Ghia, so it should have beautiful velour. Doors close with a magnificent funking sound. Oh, there we go. I like the fact it appears to have Ford screwed to the top of the engine, but really you're fooling no one there. So there you go. This Ford Telstar was manufactured by Mazda Motor Corporation to comply with Australian design rules. But yeah, we've got a 3-speed, I think, automatic gearbox over here. That's the gear selector. We can see on the top of it there. All looks very tidy in here. This isn't a particularly low mileage example, I don't think. I mean, it is kind of by the standards of Australia, but it's still got a fair few miles on it. But all looks very clean under here. Obviously we've got air conditioning, power steering. There's a lot going on. Oh, there you go. Cam belt will be due at 270,000 kilometers. But yeah, 12 valves, so 2 inlet, 1 exhaust per cylinder, and about oh, how much horsepower is it? Come on, brain. 115, I think. And the turbo, there was a turbo version as well, which produced 145, but only on premium fuel. There we go. Right, interior. This is perhaps the most important part. I hope the camera isn't shaking too much. I am losing the light slightly, but yeah, gorgeous velour, 4 power windows, height adjustment, remote fuel flap release. It's all going on. Let's jump aboard and look at the Ford steering wheel, but obviously it's not Ford in here. It is all very Mazda. So we've got indicators right, but they're clearly Mazda stalks. That's because I've got the door open. Wiper switches up here. Quite a lot going on the dashboard. Various warnings. All very good. Even a low washer fluid light. Got a very tall selector for the transmission here. We've got this amazing original AWA, or AWA, sorry, not AWA, cassette player. Wonderful. It's even got this little control so you can change where the focal point of the sound is. I've never quite understood that. I guess as default it's in the middle of the car, and that allows you to have it more towards your driver, maybe. I've just noticed this, tray or box. What does that do? Oh, I see. Oh, it's magic. Wow, that's quite astonishing. Got a lock and unlock for the tailgate. There's a bit of a safety feature because obviously central locking unlocks the entire car, so that means you can lock it. Does it mean you can open it? No, there doesn't actually seem to be a remote boot release. I find that slightly surprising. There must be an external button. But yeah, hold system, whatever that is. Hold. It's a 3-speed unit. Maybe just holds it in gear. I don't fully understand. Japanese automatic gearboxes can be hugely complicated, and this is related to it as well. We've got ECAT, whatever ECAT is, power and economy. It's currently in economy mode. You'll notice we've got curbside illumination, little door pockets, little oh wow, TX5 owner's manual. That's a lovely document to have. Wow, amazing. And Raiders of the Lost Charts. We have got a cassette, but sadly for copyright reasons I can't play it. But I'm going to close the door because I think now maybe I can show off the best feature of this car. We'll just turn the air conditioning off. It's this button here, because when you press this button the vents oscillate like a fan. That's just incredible. And it looks like you can switch between fresh air coming through, so there's still some sort of air, or the fan powered air. But that's a lovely feature. Now we'll turn the fan down a bit. You can just about hear it. But you know, you think this car is over 30 years old and this still works. It's just incredible. So hopefully you find that incredible as well. Just indicator sound. It's all good. Flash the lights. All working fine. While we've got the engine off, might as well do a washer test, I suppose. Yep, typical Japanese. It comes nice and close over here. Good overlap here, so no triangle of doom. Do a rear wiper test as well. Oh, look at that. I do like the action of a cranked rear wiper arm, don't you? So no intermittent, it's just fully on or fully off. So that's all good. And lights on the dashboard. It's illuminating slightly. But I've only really just jumped into this car. It's a very comfy seat, very strong side bolsters. They changed the seats slightly and lowered them for the Australian market, because Australians tend to be a bit bigger than Japanese. But yeah, very well spec'd, obviously power steering and everything. Really sort of nice, spacious interior, because there's very little in the way of center console. So it just makes it feel more open and spacious. Probably jump in the back, really. So with the seat set for me, there's enough knee room. I've just noticed this lumbar adjustment lever as well. Blimey, it's got everything going on. And yeah, the seat's angled quite nicely. It's very comfortable. I've got a center armrest down here. Seat back is split 60-40. I don't know if there's an external release. There is. Ugh. There we go. So we can access the commodious boot. It is a good size back there, and there appear to be tie-down straps and everything. They think of everything, don't they, these Japanese? And we've got headrests, which I'm going to assume, yep, do go up and down. So that's good. Always useful. But yeah, mostly it's just comfortable velour back here as well. Security patrol just wondering what's going on. Yes, there is a lever there. So I've got an electric button that allows me to override that feature. So that's quite good. Spare wheel under here. Oh yes, and a full-sized alloy as well. Excellent. And a bit of rope. You never know when a bit of rope might come in useful. But like I say, massive space back here. And which way does that come up? Is that the jack and all that? Oh no, rear screen wash. What we got in there. There we go. Now we know. It's always important to know these things. Right, hopefully this footage isn't going to be too shaky. We are leaving it a bit late. Just look at my vents. Be envious of my vents. And right, put some lights on. It's got that dark, not ideal. And away we go. It's not the smoothest of transmissions, it must be said, but I think we're into third now, and feels good. I've got somewhere to rest my clutch foot. Try not to crash into this Falcon Ute. The security man is on patrol. He's keeping an eye on things. He's wondering what I'm up to. Little does he know I'm recording thoroughly average cars for the old YouTubes. The ride's a bit crashy and a bit firm. It's a bit, well, Japanese, to be honest. Oh, I get to operate the rear wiper again because I've got some dribbles. But it certainly picks up quite well, as you'd expect for a 2.2. There's a good amount of torque, so it hasn't got to struggle to get this car off the line, really. I'll go this way because this is a good bit of handling down here. So we brake for the bend, check it in. Oh, that's light. Light but grippy. Let's really wind up the security man now. So yeah, in handling terms, it's really rather good. The steering is a little dead, but again, you know, it's kind of the way with modern stuff, isn't it? The ride is a bit crashy at times, but it feels like a good way of making progress. I'm making slightly too much progress for an industrial estate, one would argue. I'll slow down, these birds are rightfully telling me off. But yeah, I find it a very likeable package. It's just very spacious. I would love one of these in Mazda form. It's also worth pointing out, the Ford Telstar wasn't just for Japan. It was sold extensively in Asia. So it was sold in Japan, in Japanese Ford dealerships, who presumably the Japanese are used to badge engineering. There's an awful lot of it in Japan. And oh dear, you're looking a bit of a sorry angle there. Let's see if we can do something about that. We'll just pull over here. Right, hopefully that's a better angle for you. But yeah, it's just a very likeable car, really. I think it drives very well. The brakes are good. They're good in all the important areas, Japanese cars. A bit charmless, perhaps, but how much charm has a Ford Sierra got? I mean, Ford Sierra's rear-wheel drive, but in this market, rear-wheel drive was not the right thing to do, which is why Ford replaced the Sierra with the Mondeo. So this is really just a curious stopgap. I don't think we're really on the right roads to exploit power mode, but we'll give it a go. Whoa! Yeah, okay. Power mode is powerful. We'll put it back in economy. So it just raises the rev points and makes it a bit more exciting. I love these vents, by the way. It's such a simple idea, but it must be quite difficult to actually make it work. But it's good because you don't get that constant stream of air being fed to your face. It's more a gentle thing. It comes in and then it goes away. And that's surprisingly nice. Well, there we go. The crickets are in full swing, but that was the Ford Telstar, definitely not a Mazda with funky dash vents. Yeah, very likeable. I've always wanted to drive that generation of Mazda. It is a Mazda, really is a Mazda. And I'm not disappointed. Very, very nice, very likeable car. I can see why they sold in strong numbers. So I should say, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe before you go. Don't forget to visit the HubNut store at hubnut.org. Don't forget to check through all my previous videos. There are a great many of them. And if you like them, perhaps you might like to tell your friends and share a few. Anyway, thank you very much, and I shall see you in a future video. Farewell.